Okay, so Kim, talking about the lesson, how do you think it went?
I think it was interesting because depending on group, it went different ways. For my really low group, I thought it was okay, even though they kind of struggled, but they could see the regrouping process happening. For my highest group, it was actually the biggest struggle because although they could add it, they had no idea what was going on. So when we're going back and looking at why does that turn, why do we add that one above to like show the regrouping? They're like, I don't get this.
Wow.
So it was real interesting to have to go back to them to actually teach what was happening in the regrouping.
And that was your high group.
That was my high group. Although they could do it, they didn't know what was going on.
They didn't have the conceptual knowledge.
Yeah, they had a complete procedural. Boom, one goes up here, this goes here.
Yes.
So that was interesting to me.
Yes, and you want to build that conceptual
Correct.
knowledge. We do. So would you change anything with the way you presented the lesson? How did you feel? Did you feel comfortable with the way the students were?
Probably, I think starting with the manipulatives and then trying to draw it out, I think that was a good idea. I think I might have done more with just the manipulatives at first.
Before they went to the graphic organizer.
They went to the graphic organizer. So we were real comfortable with what was happening with the manipulatives.
Yeah.
And then
I noticed that too.
Yeah.
They struggled with the graphic organizer.
Correct. And I think if we could have spent more time initially just with the manipulatives and then maybe having the manipulatives with us and then saying, okay, now let's count. How many of these do we have? Now let's fill that out here. I think it would have worked better.
I was actually thinking too, do you think it was do you think the graphic organizer was too busy?
Well, I thought about that. I think next year what I'll do is I'll take the bottom one off and just leave the top one on. After the first day,
and maybe make room for them to add 2 rows.
Yes, maybe put that second one there.
Yes.
After the first time I did it, I actually went and bought smaller markers because I realized that it was really hard to mark thousands in here. So I went and got the fine tip markers. And so it went better the next day because of that. But yeah, I would take this off and maybe make more room up here.
Okay. So looking at the students' work, what did you notice? Let's focus on the graphic organizer instead of the manipulatives because the kids did wonderful with the manipulatives.
Right. What I noticed was they didn't understand this thousands unit.
Yes.
So even when we took like a marker and blocked this here, we blocked this here. So like the 100th and showed what 100th looked on this, they still struggled with this graphic organizer. And I wonder how much use they've had with that, or if that was brand new to them.
I think it's brand new.
It may have been brand new to them. So
I noticed they also struggled with the combining the 10/100ths into a rod. Seeing that combination.
Correct. They did that. The adaptation I made a little bit later was to take a different color, like went with a third color. So when we regrouped, we did it in a third color. So you could see it. So we had the first color in one color, the first part of the problem one color, the second problem in another color. And then for the students that were struggling with that, we actually took a third color and said, okay, this regroups here. And so after we made it, then we put it over here and then we erased it off from here. So they could see
it. And that worked a little bit better.
That did work a little bit better.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it was nice to make that happen. But they did struggle with the regroup on this. But like I said, I do think it was because that thousands grid is very...
So do you think when you're thinking about reteaching, I know that the kids have already taken the unit test. Right. Are you going to work more with a thousands grid? Thousands?
I do. I think we're going to work a little bit more with that thousands group. But the misconception may not necessarily be with the graphic organizer, but what is a thousandth? I really think that's where they struggled with. I think because ones, tens, and hundreds we do a lot of because of money.
Right.
I don't think they understood this part of it. So maybe finding some real world problems or real world situations that deal with thousands so they have a little bit better understanding of why we had that. Maybe going to track and field and showing some races or something
with timing,
with timing,
stopwatches.
Yeah, I think swimming just goes to the 100. So,
yes, I think it does.
so if we take like some Olympic coverage,
yeah,
and show some like Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, like I think that would like energize them to understand that's even a small unit of time.
Yes,
because I don't think that they necessarily understood that specifically.
That's a great idea. I also have a stopwatch that goes to the thousandths.
Yeah, I have that too.
Do you?
But like I'm
not sure if they're going to understand.
Well, they may understand, but they may not see the relevance.
Okay. So, but showing it with the Olympics.
Right. So if we can find places where it's relevant, then I think that it would help them understand why this exists. I mean, because theoretically we can go now in the 10,000ths, we can break each one of these up into 10 more pieces. Mm-hmm. So going back to that fundamental understanding of that, I think it'd be interesting to see what happens.
Looking at your summative assessment, the unit test, how did the kids do on it?
Let's see. I have 18 children that take the test. 5 of them got 50 or below. Those are my 5 that have actually failed every test this year in math. I had 2 that scored 70 or 80, and then the rest were 90 and 100.
So they're definitely understanding.
Yes. So, and we saw an increase. Yeah, we saw an increase from because I had started with an initial pretest that was just kind of quick and dirty and, a couple of questions. And, most of them couldn't do it. So we definitely saw that increase coming up.
Okay, great. So the reteaching, you're just going to focus on deepening their knowledge of the thousands.
Yes, I'm going to, for everybody, that's what it is. The 5 that failed the test, I think their problem is larger than just decimals.
Yeah.
We've started, all of them are in an intervention group for 30 minutes a day.
Okay.
So that has begun, but I've got to find a way in my math block alone to pull them for 15, 20 minutes a day, those 5, to get more instruction somehow. So I'm working right now on trying to find a way in my math workshop to make that happen.
Okay.
So every day that they get pulled.
Yes.
Because they need more support somehow.
Well, I really enjoyed watching the lesson.
Thank you.
It was incredible. And thanks for doing this for me.
No problems.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.